This community update was brought to you by U Radio. Muscles aching and lungs burning, Oleh Dehtiarov pushes himself through his workouts. He does this 6 days a week, often waking up at 5 a.m. to train.
Every time I wake up and I know that I'm doing this with my team, I want to live. I'm like, man, I'm doing something for my country. I'm doing something for my people. I wake up with a purpose.
Oleh's goal is to complete a full Ironman triathlon, but more importantly for him, to raise $100,000 for the armed forces of Ukraine.
Because at the end of the day, like when the war is over, you want to say, hey, I did something. Like when people ask, what did you do? I did this. And I did this because we had this great idea and we pulled it off.
With family moving to Canada 14 years ago, and himself moving to Canada 8 years ago, Oleh has spent the past few years actively supporting his home country. Now he'll do that through a new initiative, Iron Hearts for Ukraine.
Kind of last year, I was competing in triathlon. So I got into triathlon. My dream was to complete a full Ironman. So it's a 4K swim, 180K bike, and a full marathon to run. And last year I completed half Ironman, which was fun. And right after that, I was like, well, why don't I just start raising money for Ukrainian Armed Forces as I'm training for the full Ironman for next year?
Oleh says the past few months have been difficult to witness, with the United States pulling support for Ukraine feeling like a betrayal. He recalls watching the news when President Zelensky came to see Trump in the Oval Office.
That whole scene that unfolded there, right? It was painful to watch because like there's a guy coming and asking for help, and I don't want to say bullying, but there's like a lot of disrespect to him.
He continues.
Their support was like probably 60-70% of the whole packages of support, right? That's big. That's big. And the fact that they're trying to push now Zelensky to kind of settle for it's not supposed to be a discussion.
Despite support from the U.S. hanging by a thread, Oleh says he is not deterred. In fact, he says he's more motivated than ever. However, raising $100,000 is difficult to do alone, so Oleh and his team created Iron Hearts for Ukraine,
where we can kind of bring athletes around Canada together, Ukrainians, Canadians, anybody who is interested to support Ukraine. We're going to give them the opportunity to raise money, train for their events. We're going to bring the community together. We're going to create some maybe group chats on WhatsApp, motivate people. It's going to be great. So let's do that.
When asked why he set the goal at $100,000, Oleh laughs.
It's a challenge. 100,000 sounds big, but at the end of the day, my family has friends that serve, and when you ask them how much money does it go every single day, like those drones that people spend donate their money on, like $2,000, it's up in the air, 2 seconds later it's gone. So $2,000 goes to waste within like 10 minutes, just so you understand. So like having collected $100,000, in reality it's not really a big amount, but for us it sounds like a challenge.
The Iron Hearts for Ukraine initiative is already gaining traction. Oleh's mother is training for a marathon, and several close friends have signed up as ambassadors. He says most ambassadors are Ukrainian or of Ukrainian descent, and understands that the ongoing conflict feels distant for many Canadians. However, he believes that might change with the continued threats of making Canada the 51st state.
Possibly, I think so, especially with everything that Trump is saying right now. You know, it's for Canada, it's threats pretty much, right? But everything he does towards Europe and towards Ukraine right now, I really hope it's going to stimulate people to be like, hey, I got to take action. Like I got to do something myself.
Oleh says he is confident they'll reach their goal and maybe even exceed it. However, he says, most of all, he hopes that people are inspired to make a difference, whether it's through his initiative or another.
The more people support initiatives like that, the faster we're going to raise the money, and the more help we're going to get. And you know, as one of our teammates on this team is saying, is like, you know, I really hope we're going to save at least one life. If we're going to save at least one life, that's great. Okay. That's what it's all about, yeah.
You're listening to U Radio, where diverse voices connect. Stay tuned for more stories and insights that matter. With U Multicultural and the Local Journalism Initiative, I'm Ryan Funk.